Hi, everybody, and welcome to High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that tries to do the division, but always ends up being -1. I am your host, sometimes Tomahawk, and with me is my co host.
Hello, Tomahawk. How bizarre.
I
Is this
know,
the
how
first time
strange.
we've been without Luvva on the main season?
This is the first main season episode. Yes, we have
Oh.
gone rogue before and done our Final Fantasy side quest, but no, we are being tasked today to do a main episode. Just the two of us.
Propping up the whole podcast. Here we are.
Perfect. Absolutely. How are we keeping today? How are we feeling better from last week? I know that we'd succumbed to illness.
Yes. No, I am reborn, thankfully, and rebirthed. Final Fantasy VII
Good.
Rebirth. Got me
You were
through it.
playing the Oregon Trail in real life anyway.
No, it's all fine. I might sound like I've got a frog in my throat, and that's I don't. It's just illness.
That's it. No, at least you have a legitimate excuse. Lova messaged us today and went, I've left my laptop in work. You're just going to have to carry on without me. So here we are. You have to deal with us this week. So take that
Just
how
throws
you
that on
want, I
us.
suppose. If there's
Yeah.
any first time listeners who don't know what we're talking about, don't know what high scores, high stakes is, basically, high scores, high stakes is three friends, three PlayStations, 12 gaming challenges, 12 different PlayStation games. We compete in a league table. We compete for points. First place getting 3 points, second place getting 2 points, one place, third place getting 1 point, and we compete in the high scores, high stakes league table. And as it stands, the league table looks like this. In third place, our new foundation, it seems, is Mr.
Hmm.
Lava Lava on 20 points. I myself am holding up the position of middle of the road, second place with 21 points. And Cardinal Smith, our reigning defending champion, you're sitting pretty at the top on 23 points.
It is tight. It is a tight season, and we did say it was
Yes.
going to be a close one with the three of us. But
No, absolutely. 3 points between us. I mean, we said it last week. This is going to be one of those episodes where one bad performance, sort of in the higher, in the top end, like myself or you, and Lova can start to close a gap or just basically come level with us. So it's making for interesting watching, interesting game playing as well. I go into these challenges thinking now it's like just don't go behind Lova, just don't finish behind Lova, and then you're in a good spot. You're constantly, as long as you're getting points above him, you're gonna increase that gap. And but there it is. The league table is looking tight as we enter the second half of season 4.
there's always that. See, you've done this the last three seasons too, Tom. It's always about finishing ahead of Lubba, and that
That's it.
you got to finish ahead of everybody. Okay, and you
Yes.
don't be
No.
last is a good strategy here, which Love is struggling with. Let's be honest, but you see, I keep stealing these
There we are.
cups.
He's got it. He's
I
got
keep
the cup
stealing
again,
them,
and he's got the cup again.
and
Well, I mean, you've got the winner's mentality. I am
yeah,
still fishing for my first league title as such, but um, life goes on. We'll figure it out. Hopefully, I keep saying this will be the season, but
it's
week
got to be.
12 is a long way away, at least anyway. But if you think that the 60 to 70 minutes of high scores, high stakes on a Monday is not enough podcasting, we are all over the internet. We are on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, on the newest platforms whatsoever. We're everywhere you can think. If you want a handy little location to find all of these things on the internet, go to highscoreshighstakes.com, click on all the little icons on the top of the screen, and that will take you to its respective page. Now, I hope Lova is listening to this and hasn't shouted at me and I haven't missed anything. And that seems to be all the social plugs out the way.
Nicely done.
So we're going to go
Better
into
than
the
normal.
next. That's it. We're going to go into the next appropriate section. And I'm going to ask you, Cardinal Smith, because it's been a week. What are you playing?
This podcast just gets better, doesn't it? Tom Hawk, thank you for asking, and I will. I'll be honest with this one. I've been playing that little indie creepy game called Phasmophobia a few times because I'll just
Incredible.
say it. At High Scores High Stakes, we've been having a couple of community play nights um, on a Wednesday evening, which has
Tuesday
been
evening.
Tuesday evening. Tuesday
Tuesday
evening.
evening.
It's Tuesday, and it's been fantastic. I am
It has. It's
normally,
been so much fun.
yeah, I'm normally too spooked to play spooky games, but with the comfort of friends and knowing that you can just hide in the van, um,
Yeah, no, it's class. It's one of those games now because we've been posting about it and talking about it. It's crept into my algorithm. So I'm just
oh,
watching Phasmo clips at the minute and all the memes of like you get the when the brave friend dies and everyone just like runs away. So yeah, great game. Absolutely great game. And it's as you say, it's our community game. Every Tuesday we put it in the link in our Discord and we invite anyone in the High Scores High Stakes community to come and play with us.
it's not just a what are you playing, but also a plug. This
That's
one
it.
is
Excellent. That's
absolutely
what you want.
exactly. This one's not a plug, and it will never be a High Scores High Stakes community game, but a little map game that's not available on PlayStation called Hearts of Iron 4 had a massive new DLC released called Gotthard am Dung. I can't pronounce it. It's in German, and it's a
Unreal.
huge expansion to a lot of fun new mechanics and
I was gonna say it's been a while since we played a sort of top-down strategy. And Hearts of Iron, I know that is a series that you do love and appreciate. So
it,
I take it this has been a long time coming, this DLC, or is this but one you've kept an eye on?
yes, this is a sort of a huge update to some of the core parts of the whole game, and especially it's updated Germany, so play which is
Uh-huh.
kind of one of the main characters of World War II, which is when this is set.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, an antagonist, if you will, but it's just superb. I've spent 1,800 hours playing this game since it released in
What?
2016. Yes, it's my most played game of all time.
I'm
But
just gonna like for the edit, we're gonna put the screen grab of Cardinals playtime just so the world can see that. I think that's
uh,
incredible.
and those are rookie numbers. but but besides that and my problems, let me say, Tomahawk, what are you playing?
Still gassed by that number. Um,
It's too much,
I
to be fair.
haven't really been playing an awful lot. I've been playing a little bit of Uncharted 2 for just to refresh my memory for Game of the Month. We have that coming up in a couple of weeks at least anyway. So the story is what it is. I the game is fantastic. I just wanted to refresh, gameplay and graphics and that kind of stuff. All the boxes that we tick off in those episodes really, and kind of just been playing through The Last of Us Part 2 again. I took a notion to download all of the remasters and the remakes that they've been releasing and just
Yeah,
tank through them. Man, The Last of Us 2 is still incredible. It's just such a roller coaster of emotions, and I'm only playing it for about 4 hours at the minute. So not a lot has happened, but like, man, the heartstrings are well and truly pulled.
really.
Though,
This is
I mean, it's one of those ones. If you know it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about in that early stages of the game. But Cardinal, I know that yourself, your prowess of Last of Us is only ever extended to the first like hour and a half, 2 hours of the game.
and that's because it's been one of our challenges. If we have
Hmm.
a challenge where we go deeper in the game, I'll get to play it.
I mean, absolutely. I think it's one of those games that I think you should go back. I know that the problem you had with it was the clickers, and they do become a
Yeah,
big, major. There just gets to a point in the game where they become the base enemy. So if they're always there, they can't scare you, I guess.
that's not how fear works. But
um,
I will take that on board.
well
Also,
worth it.
though,
I would highly recommend giving it a go anyway. Even if we can do Phasmophobia on a weekly basis, I believe in you to do The Last of Us Part 1 at least anyway.
I guess.
But
Sure.
enough about the games that we've been playing individually. I think we should talk about the game that we have been playing as a collective. And that is, of course, Tom Clancy's The Division. So let's get to that now. So, Cardinal, The Division.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
This is a game I've been super, super excited about playing. Again, this has perpetually lived on my hard drive for years. Now, I don't think it's really left even when the Division 2 came out. But tell me, Division, what is your sort of history with this game then? We'll have a bit of a chat about it before we get into the challenge then.
I am a I am a diehard Division fan. I love the music, the setting. Oh, it was, I mean, pre-COVID, this was like a disease that breaks out near the holiday season, Black Friday, um, um,
Oh,
bit
that's right,
in New
yes.
York City and stuff. But the whole game is great. And I remember back in the day, everyone criticized, oh, it's like bullet sponges. Mm, it didn't feel different to Destiny to me. It just, except everything felt better and less floaty in terms of the combat and the fighting, the movement, all gearing
Yeah.
up. Everything felt cool. It was cool, and it's always been cool, and it's still cool. And I can't believe it's still
Oh no, no,
alive.
absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah. There has this like I don't want to say a cult following because they obviously made the sequel and the sequel is pretty popular as well, but everyone said the one thing about Division 2 is that it just didn't have that New York aesthetic, didn't have what Division 1 had for setting and like kind of gameplay in that. So obviously when Division 2 brought the Warlords of New York DLC out, I think that kind of like kickstarted everyone to go back to Division 1. And the player base, especially from what we were going through in beta and in test and everything, there is still a pretty strong hardcore player base for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first installment.
You go to those public areas in the division,
Hmm.
and there's no events on, and like areas are closed off where there was like online public events, but there's still players running about, you know, tuning gear and waving at you, and it's like,
That's it.
this game's like over 10 years old now, you know, and there's a sequel out
I
which they push.
found, well, that's it. I found it was really funny about going around like the dark zone or going around just the map in general and trying to figure out how the challenge was going to work and how we were going to get everything without basically being bombarded with NPCs or other players. And I just found that if another player showed up, they would stand in front of you, do a little emote, drop some legendary gear, and then just run off into the distance. So the player base is pretty friendly, in all honesty.
All the people you don't want playing have moved on.
That's
That's
it.
funny.
So this challenge is quite funny because it had there was a an initial concept. And then I think as we tried to like QA it and everything, it kind of grew arms and legs and then ended up being a little bit scaled back in terms of what we tend to do at high scores, high stakes. I think originally what we wanted to do was like a hide and seek, search and destroy type format. And then we realized not only do you have a lot of outside interference potentially, the map is humongous. So even we had said, let's maintain it to or contain it to one dark zone. That one dark zone is like 12 blocks big,
Yeah.
huge.
New
So
York,
what we're
famously not small.
famously a very, very large place. So what we've done is we have refined the challenge a little bit, and we're going to go and do an incursion. In this instance, we are tasked with taking down the I can't remember what you call the faction, the flamers. No, not the flamers, the cleaners. The cleaners.
Cleaners, that's them.
They we have been told that they are testing out a new weapon, and basically what we have to do as division agents is go in and destroy it. And it's kind of done in like concentric circles. You start off at like ground level, have a big run around, kill a load of enemies, advance to the next level, and they tend to get smaller and smaller arenas until basically you get to the big bad at the end. So the scoring system on this one is a little bit funky. We're kind of departing from our 3-2-1
Standard
again.
season 4 behavior.
Absolutely. This one is what we're going to do is we're going to get a point for every area that we clear. So we'll get 1 point for it'll be 1 point confirmed if we can complete area one, 2 points confirmed area two, and then we'll get 3 points if we complete the incursion. Now, we will be basing this then on who can also get the least downs. there will be points kind of doled out for that as well. So, uh, don't die is the aim of the game on this one.
Don't die. It's a good tip.
So, it is absolutely. I think it's a great game. It's a great challenge, and I think what we should do, Cardinal, is we should load it up, and we'll have a look, and we'll just talk about the game and sort of what was going on in the world of the division as we were playing it then.
Love it. Let's go.
So here we are. We are starting the Dragon's Breath incursion in the division. As I said, we have to go through and basically wipe out the cleaners and wipe out their prototype weapon that they want to release onto New York. Then, so we're just going to crack on with the gameplay. We have segmented this a little bit better, mainly just for the encounters. Otherwise, there's a lot of us just running around.
There's a lot of fighting, and these incursions were added later into the game as part of an expansion. These are automatically set to challenging difficulty, and
Oh
all
yeah.
the enemies are like level 33, 34, whereas our player cap is level 30. So they're there to add like extra playability to the game as well as loot.
Yeah, no,
You're
absolutely. Because
constantly
like
fighting.
even once you cap out at level 30, then they introduce the world tier
Yeah.
mechanic, and the world tier then basically grades you on your gear score. So the better guns you have, the higher your gear score is. So we're sitting on world tier 5 at the minute as well, which is like pretty much the maxed out capacity, the highest like level all of your weapons, your clothing can be, and all the perks as well. So we figured that it balanced us a little bit better and made it give us a better chance at some of the enemies as well.
Sure did. And straight away, we're into the fighting here. Into the first section, we just go in, and there's two of these gold elite enemies. You kill them, and there's two more appear straight after. And is
That's it. Yeah,
I thought this bit was
it's
difficult.
funny. That's it because they like it's such a narrow corridor, but like the flamers just come and rush you straight away. So like we've dispatched the two of them, as you say, but then we're left. There's a third one who has come straight in and I say causing a bit of havoc. Cardinal has quite quickly dispatched them, but it's these mechanics, the engineer enemies that you have as well, because they can build. If you leave them for a while, they'll either build RC cars that can explode, or they can build turrets. So they have a few options. Really, just depends on what sort of class they are or what enemy type that they are. But they can be a pain if you don't dispatch them quickly, because yeah, they have a lot of weapons in their arsenal. Really.
It's just an RC car straight to me, like the 2 meters away from himself, and most of the map is on fire.
Well, that's
Yeah,
this is the theme of this one being the
hunt.
cleaners.
Yeah,
The fire is going to be a big deal in this one now. So, uh, as it stands, it looks like we have cleared the first encounter, and
that is actually it. Yeah, as easy as we made that look. Of course, I nearly died.
that's it. It's funny though because we finish this off and then it's a scramble to the next checkpoint and to get restocked, because the restocks on this I will say are very few and far between, and there's seldom in the battle arenas. So it's very much a case of get it ready for uh, get
Yeah,
restocked before you go into the next encounter. So we've all gone to the restock here. We've all picked it up, and yeah, we're pretty much good. We prepped and ready for area 2, which look, I think it was, if I remember correctly, was rooftop battle.
it was indeed. It was indeed. And excuse this poor quality JPEG we're paused into now, but we've
I
reached the
love
end of
it.
the
I
first
love it.
section. As easy as
I
that
tell you
was.
what, I think for as short as that first section was, I think we'll just run it through and play the next section as well, and we'll just we'll talk about it because I think this second area caused a lot of friction in the group, at least anyway, particularly in the trial run for this level as well. So Cardinal, just crack on, and
Let's
we'll
go.
sort of talk about that. We'll talk about this area in a bit more depth as well, because this one was. four sort of juggernaut type villains, all named after the horsemen of the apocalypse. So we have war, famine, pestilence, and death. They all are just big brute type characters. One has a flamethrower, one fires projectiles, one is just a tank type character, just with a handgun. He's very, very close range weapon, at least
Yeah.
anyway. And they are just a pain because they've got max shields, they've got a huge amount of health, and their support enemies are more engineers, and the characters with shields and axes and stuff as well. So there's a lot going on in this, and we get boxed in pretty quickly, and very frequently as well in this instance.
And we have to keep rotating as well. It's quite a large area, but there's not a lot of cover, and not too
No,
many
no,
places to
not
run
at
to.
all.
And I am being chased down by RC car after RC tow. And here is our first down of the mission so far. I have been downed.
Oh yes, Cardinal Smith is on fire. This, yeah, being the cleaners, fire is, so prominent, and the radial damage it deals out is insane as well. So the handy thing about this, and what I love about the mechanic, when you are downed, you can still move around. You're not static, so it gives you a chance to sort of reposition yourself to make you available for a revive. But I'm looking at the gameplay here, and the me and Lava have kind of just not ignored you, but it looks like that we are very stuck in trying to get to you. Then the problem as well, when you fall unconscious, it means that the cooldown is twice as long to get you revived. So
Yes.
you're static for a very long time, and you get a lot of damage dealt to you as well. So sadly, I did get cut off. I went for the revive and I got cut off, so I basically had to run and hide.
I
I'm just
appreciate the
watching that back,
thought.
and I do feel really bad. It's as soon as I went to you and started to hold square, the RC car came up, and then one of the four horsemen came as well. So at this point, me and Love are just running interference now. It's just constantly running in circles. We made a point that we all carried a big healing item, so we were able to hunker down for a small period of time. But
Oh,
this
can I
this
ask
this
what
was a
gun are you using?
hard.
Because you have zero ammo in one gun and six shots in the other.
Oh, I was using like a SOCOM rifle type thing,
Yeah.
which was a single fire rifle, but had like crazy amounts of damage dealt. I think
Okay.
it would have dealt out like 200k worth of damage per shot, and
Oh, and
then
this is like a
my secondary is
shotgun.
a
Yeah.
shotgun, which also deals out quite a lot of damage even from a distance. So, and it deals out multiple doses of damage even at any distance really as well. And then of course me and Lova had a lot of talk about this as well.
I'm revived.
Um, oh, you are revived. Happy days. Me and Lova did have a lot of talk about my sidearm. My sidearm dealt 400k of like has a gear score of like 400k worth of damage.
What?
It was like I have a silenced Desert Eagle, so
Oh my goodness.
there was a point where I basically ran out of ammo pretty quickly and pretty consistently. So I was using my sidearm for the majority, I think, of this run at least anyway, just for the fact that it has infinite ammo.
Yeah. I'm I mean, fair enough. That it looks like you need it there. You've got literally 15 shots left outside of that.
That's it. Lova would did a really good job this entire game. He had the flame turret,
Yeah.
and from what I remember, it seemed to have a wicked quick cooldown. So he was always just firing one out and being able to constantly replenish it as well. I opted for it was like a not a remote control grenade as such, but it like patrolled the room and was
Oh, I see.
proximity activated as well. So I had a couple of decent little
Lava
perks
is
as
down.
well.
Lava's down. A
Oh,
Tomahawk,
Lova has
you're
been.
threadbare of health. I don't know how you're still alive.
Oh, a lot of running around and hiding. The bullet sponge thing works both ways. For what I found, QA in this, the bad guys do an awful lot of shooting, not so much an awful lot of like hitting you. And it's the same for us as well. We do an awful lot of shooting on target, but it doesn't seem to be. It does a lot of damage, but their health is so massive.
Oh, it's
You're
huge.
shooting forever and ever, essentially. So yeah, I've just reverted back to my pistol now because I realize how quick fire the pistol is and how quick it can dole out some serious damage. So I wasn't too fussed about having to move to a sidearm. And I think this is roughly at this point now where, yep, Cardinal has discovered we have a restock box tucked away in the map somewhere there.
You're like, finally, I can shoot one of these weapons.
But it's a laugh because this was discovered quite close to the end of this. I mean,
I think
we've
with the
got war
bosses,
sort of on the run. Yeah,
yeah, there's only one left of the four, and we're sort of all able to have a shot at him. I say
that's it.
is,
So
and
anyone who's not watching the video format, the map essentially is a rooftop. With it seems to be like an entryway back into the building on the far end in an elevated position. We've come in on the far end over a barricade, and there's a lot of parked cars and tarps and boxes and stuff as well to provide cover. And it is quite a large arena, but as you say, not an awful lot of cover, and any cover that you do have can be easily flanked. And
there
that is
goes
that.
war.
We have secured the parking lot as well, so that is uh, area two, mostly secured actually. So the main objective is to get rid of the four horsemen. Now we are just kind of cleaning up. We've a lot of engineers kind of just loitering at this point now.
Who, yeah, who are still causing us trouble, but we do clean this up. We get through it, and that is us claiming our second point.
That's
Like,
it. And I kind of had a laugh about this one because I was sitting playing this and going, God, this is going to be really long. And then I think Luvva just went, yeah, you do realize these incursions can last up to about an hour. So there is a lot going on in these gameplays. We've done a
and
really good job of condensing the encounters down, but yeah, I mean it's an endurance test in this one absolutely. So
and
that
none
is
of us had
the
ever got to this far before.
no, none of us. I don't think any of us have ever played an incursion before. I think maybe yourself, Cardinal, had done one
And
previously.
I've seen this one, and I've got to this section on the rooftop, but I've never got by it.
Okay, so that's it. We've got I think we're all picking up a little bit of loot, and at this point, I think where we are leveled up at this point, every position that you're, everything that you want to change and upgrade only really offers like one gear score boost. So we're at this funny level where the improvements are not as incremental as they are in the lower levels then.
Yeah, yeah, we're sort of deleting stuff or picked up or dismantling or throwing it down for
Yeah.
you guys if you might want it. But
And then this is the part where we are basically getting ready to move into area three, and my game bugged out and left me trapped on the emote
oh,
window.
so this is what you were saying. You were complaining about
And
this,
I'm
and me and Lova were like, "What the hell's he doing?" Is and I kind of presumed this is Tom's big moment here. He's loading up the hacks, and look, the video just stops just like that. Just
and
as
that's
you
it.
possibly start to load the hacks, the footage is gone.
It was a
Incredible.
funny one because I constantly was like hitting back and hitting circle, and circle wasn't being recognized, and I was like, "Oh dear, am I gonna have to like drop out and then come meet them and then do and then figure it out that way?" But no, thankfully something just happened. I was able to back out. So yeah, we got there in the end anyway. You were well on to the next area at this point, and I'm like playing catch up because I'm too busy doing jumping jacks in the room above.
So it's all innocent. It was just a bug.
It's all innocent. There's no
Yeah,
controversy this week, I don't think. No doubt Lava will find a way. But
Lova finds a
that
way.
takes us quite nicely. With the two of us, there's not going to be a name that game this week. But I think we should cut away from the division for a minute because I want to try something a little bit different this week.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm suggestible. Let's
So
do it.
let's go there now. So yes, as I said earlier, sadly there'll be no name that game this week, which is actually good news because I, for 2 weeks in a row, haven't got games to name. Turns out, this is quite a difficult segment when the reviews are so poor or only ever talk about the condition of the box or the game not arriving or anything like. It is what it is. So I figured what we'll do is, being the start of the second half of the season, I want to maybe get your thoughts, Cardinal,
Ooh,
uh, at the state of play as we stand, because you're sitting top. Um, Now, history isn't on your side really in previous seasons. The
no.
leader usually, it doesn't usually end well for you guys. So, what are you like realistically? What are your thoughts at the minute, where we're sort of standing in terms of the league table? Then, because you were saying in chat today, it's like I don't want to be top. This is such a strange position. You you have 1 foot forward on being the first back-to-back champion.
And that's
Talk me through it.
yeah, and that's true. I think am I just ahead on challenge wins? Three
I
three
think you've
challenge.
actually got a couple of point lead at this point. Where it's a couple of points anyway,
Oh
so
goodness.
we're.
Okay. Well, this
But you
yeah.
have led the way in challenges, so even if there is a tiebreak, you have that advantage. So it's interesting because like you absolutely smashed it in Gran Turismo, and you smashed it in every other challenge that you have won. You've won by a good distance at least as well.
I think I was there's games this season we played where I haven't expected to do that well in. Um I'm looking
MLB
at
springs to
Helldivers.
mind.
I'm looking at Vampire Survivors. The show last week. I did not expect. I hadn't played it before. That was practically a sherry one and done. It just happened to
Yeah.
work out okay. I guess we did play that in 2020 in lockdown. Maybe it's a hangover from that. But yeah, I can't really believe it. But I think part of I, how we've got here and how the scores suggest this is that we've all been taking points off each other, right?
That's
There's
it.
there's only 3 points in it, and although I'm in the lead, which is unusual for me because I wasn't in the lead last season until the very last section of the last challenge,
The last challenge, essentially. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which to be fair, we do stupid scores for in the last challenge and make
Oh,
most
of
of the
course,
season
of course.
redundant. But that's for other people to say. This is all valid scoring. Um,
Like it's so funny because history history for the winner is not necessarily on their side. Like we've already well established that the person who wins the first challenge of the season tends not to win the rest of the overall league, and it goes to say the same for the Champions Choice. Whoever's picked that and won it has never
yeah,
gone on to win that respective season. We've also never had a back-to-back winner. It's funny. I mean, you've got 2 cups at the minute now, so I think in terms of history and backing, you're in a really, really good spot, to be honest.
well, you say that, but history says otherwise. And what it does say to me is, Tom, you've obviously been on a sort of darker journey this season. Really pulling out all the stops to get where the points you need to get.
The
And I
villain
think
arc has very much become I say it's become a meme, but it's one of those things that the more Luvva talks about it, the more I think I'm starting to believe it. So I can't tell if it's just really good storytelling or he's gaslighting me.
it's been a both psychological play. I think he's going to come in one of these challenges soon and demand there be a 30-point bonus for something.
Oh,
Not what I'm
I mean, he
season
tries it in
two.
the he
Yeah.
tries it in the chat often enough, at least anyway. So, but yeah, no, I just wanted to touch base with that first half of the league done and dusted. Obviously, we've got some really, really good games coming up. I think this. We were talking about this really weirdly. The division will be the last game that we all have to play as a collective until
Really?
the finale. Until the finale. So that is just a little bit of foreshadowing for the viewer here. Every from here on in, post division will be a single player based challenge. So there's a lot. Those challenges, I think personally for me, are really fun because we don't know how well anyone does until the record day. Whereas with these ones, we know how it turns out because we're all playing at the same time and in real time.
Yes.
So interesting stuff for the next 6 weeks or so.
It is interesting stuff, and also it's an interesting opportunity for someone to sink a lot of time into a few games and maybe get
That's
some
it as
practice in.
well.
And
Well, that's it. I mean, we say about these other games, but finding the time is really interesting. Whereas these single players can be done like in a little bit of downtime, in between. Like there's no there's no major challenge games at the minute, and we're not really playing anything mega aside from our community game and a few wee offline sort of bits as well. So I have a feeling that this second half is gonna get a little bit edgier,
edgier.
and the scores I think are gonna start to seriously skyrocket now because people are gonna want to start pulling away or bridging gaps. So there's a lot to play for, and I think as you say, by the time you get to the finale, everything could just be turned on its head as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the example of the effort in terms of hours that you put in to some of your gameplay times.
Stop looking at my gamer tag.
I mean, how many hours did you put into
Oh,
Gran Turismo 7? That is incredible. And you
don't
know
worry,
what?
man. Well,
That earned you that earned you points. You were not
it did.
expected to finish second in that challenge.
No, not
And
at
and
all.
and and,
But
and that's not like a
uh,
disrespect. I think we have these games set up and lined up, and we kind of think there's maybe a, oh, that'll balance out. He'll be good at that game.
oh yeah, you
Tom,
know it's gonna one game's gonna lean towards one player, and then
yeah,
you find balance in those games at least anyway. But no, that one was the first time where I thought, actually, let's maybe let's show everyone I'm kind of mean business this time, and just everyone expects me to finish last in Gran Turismo because I have the least technical prowess in it, and that was the
you
first
didn't
game
own the
that I
game. Luvva and I
properly
both owned the game. You didn't, so
that's
that
it's a game that I properly ground out
yeah.
and thought I'm gonna shock them all.
And you did. It was sweaty bum time at that moment. When you crossed the
Uh-huh.
line and it was like a fraction, like literally 1/100th of a second slower than the target time. I thought you had beaten it,
Mad,
and I would have to delete the
madness.
game.
Right, I think we've indulged our first 6 episodes of season 4 enough. Just before we go back to the division, I just want to ask because it's been a few weeks since we've mentioned it. How are you getting on with your season-long challenge without giving too much away?
Um, well, Tomahawk, I'm so glad you asked about our season-long challenge of the photo album
Yes,
scrapbook challenge.
our scrapbook season-long challenge in which myself, Cardinal Smith, and Mr. Lova have to compile 10 photographs based on 10 themes that ChatGPT have compiled for us. What we'll do is we'll keep that anonymous by I think week 10 or week 11 will be the deadline for it. And the
Good.
winner of our season long challenge will be decided by the public. So the owners of said photo montages will be kept a secret, but will be up for public vote. So I am powering through mine. I'm not going to tell you which themes I have locked in, but I have a couple. I have a couple
You
done,
have a
and
few
I'm quite
gems.
pleased with them. I do. It's a mixed bag between what has a photo mode where you can manipulate and change around the image, and what is just a straight up screenshot from the game as well. So, uh, I had reservations at the start of this. I'm not gonna lie, but it has been c'est magnifique so
Oh
far.
my. Oh my. I have games I really like I've got on the hard drive purposely for this challenge. I haven't taken a lot of photos yet, but I already have prepped games that I know in my
Oh, in
head.
your mind's eye, they're there.
That's gonna look amazing. I need to do this. Get a shot of that. Right. I'm thinking about it.
Cool. And no doubt Lava's got multiples and duplicates of everything done. So
Catalogs.
we will touch base on that in a couple of weeks, see how everyone's getting on. But I think in the meantime, we should go and check out our last leg of our division incursion.
The final stretch. Let's go.
Let's do it. So here we are, part 3 of our division incursion. What we have done now is we have entered the underground area, and we have basically been told to destroy the cleaner's new weapon, which is a kitted out fire engine that shoots massive massive amounts of radial flame damage and fires out fire projectiles, which can cover the entire arena
This thing is
and
a
just deal
napalm
mega damage.
bomb. Yeah. There's nowhere
So
to hide.
the general theme of this segment is have to synchronize pressing of buttons, survive waves, pressing buttons, survive waves until we can destroy the fire engine. So I just think Cardinal will get straight into it. We'll talk a little bit more about this map and this area as well. So we'll just get going straight into this now. This bloody hard. I will say this much. Not even like hard. Not even hard for like gameplay, but this was hard like on a mental grind. I think because it just never ended, and it was just endless waves and waves and waves of enemies. And
It
not
was
necessarily
so
difficult
constant.
ones, just so many of them, and it just didn't let up. So it took a while for us to realize that I think we had to press the buttons in sync.
Yes, it did.
If you don't press them at the same time, it like they reset, they go out of sync, and it just becomes you're then having to do another wave of enemies before the buttons then are able to be pressed again. So and then
Yeah.
obviously the fire engine will throw out its projectiles, but it will mark on the floor where it's going to go. But if you are watching the video, you'll just see that it's just red everywhere.
It is indeed.
It was crazy, and I've been downed.
You've been caught in the flames. But thankfully you're getting revived. Thankfully the flames are gone long enough to allow us to revive you.
Yeah, that's it. So this one we're dealt with a lot of snipers. There's
Yes.
the main floor of this where you get sort of your basic grunts, and then you have two high level rafters that the snipers can kind of converge on, and they can flank you pretty handily as well. Now, what I will say is Cardinal is quite proficient himself with the sniper rifle.
I love a sniper.
I think it's great because they do absolute mega damage, and you don't necessarily have to use a scope as well, so it is quite good for this kind of arena.
There was enemies in the upper tier as well, snipers that you can't get to, and I think Tom, you're firing at them right now, and I didn't know they were there half the time because I'm too busy watching the floor turn red and then burst into
Yeah, that's
flame.
it.
Uh,
I did find at some point though it was like the closer you got to the fire engine, certain it couldn't use certain items against you or certain abilities against you. So, but it's no good if you can't be pressing buttons and getting like advancing the objective. Then
yeah, and I'm downed. And one thing I noticed is I have the super ability L1 and R1 to do a big boost heal, and I never used it because I I just plain forgot it existed. I should
oh
have
no, I
used it
was
there.
exactly the same. I think we all have that same perk where you just can do a mass heal. I also have the what I call like the Call of Duty UAV perk where you can see where the enemies are. And I think that only really
Yes.
works if you're in the open world as opposed to this situation where they're everywhere all the time and you can physically see that. But we're getting through these waves of enemies pretty handily. I mean, apart from one or two little hiccups where we're just engulfed in flames, that seems to be the only problem that we're ever majorly faced with. The enemies aren't too clever. If they're engaging with one player, they sort of forget that the others exist. And being a team-based shooter is quite good for the rest of us to go and flank.
It is, and I think we were doing that right there. I was to the side where you were two were facing on an enemy, and I was able to throw up a little flame turret, which was Pretty handy as you snipe a boy in the face there.
That's it. I mean, I do enjoy these sniper battles that you do get, because it is just patience, really. The guys won't come out of cover if they're being shot at, but then you have to nearly fake out being out of cover for them and then goad them out
Yes.
into an attack. So the
And
AI is weirdly it's weirdly clever, but also a bit unintuitive at the same time. As I say, sometimes it'll just forget that you're there if if it's too busy preoccupied with another player. So it has its flaws certainly, but for a game that's nearly like 8 or 9 years old, I don't blame it for being a bit
and the good news
odd.
is we have completed the challenge. We've destroyed the fire truck, and the incursion is complete. We've finished Dragon's Nest,
Fantastic stuff.
and we
I
got
mean, that
lots of
was
loot.
I mean, for a 5 minute segment there, that was an absolute slog. I think you had said that that was actually 33 minutes or something like that. So,
That section alone was
uh,
30 minutes. Yeah.
one hell of it. Like the second section with the big Goliath enemies was pretty heavy going. That was just mental fortitude was really needed for that one because you couldn't not focus the entire time because it was just endless in every direction.
Indeed,
But
and if we did it again, maybe we'd do it faster. But that was the first time we tried it, and we got through it. So that's incredible.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think for a one and done, really, that was as good as we could have hoped for, really. But with all that said and done, we need to have a look and see what this does for the league table, and we'll get our final thoughts on Tom Clancy's The Division. So, what do we think? We'll call an end to this chapter then for this week.
Let's do it.
So that is all done, wrapped up, nice and tight. That is The Division locked in and away. I say we go for final thoughts, but I think I know what you're going to say about this game. Cardinals, would you play this game again?
Yeah, I mean, we just earned 200,000 credits. I need to spend those, and but it, it,
No,
it was
yeah.
my highest played game on the PS4. I think
No, that's
147
it. It's one of
hours.
those
So
games. I think my playtime was
oh,
like more than half of that. I think my game time was around 65 hours. But again, it's one of my highest played games on the PS4. As I said, I think in game chat was one of the games once I was in a house of a stable internet connection was
nice.
one game that I played to death because obviously it is a entirely online based game. So a good internet connection is well required for this.
Can I just hark back to that time? Um, had been
Yes.
playing it for a while, and then when you joined, that was the first time I ever talked to you or played a game with you. By the way, was in the division
That's right.
as
Yes,
you were
because this was
leveling
one of
up.
those like this was one of those games where we always kind of did like the old school Monday night multiplayer, and the Division was one of them games that it never quite left everyone's gaming periphery. Everyone sort of was playing it at one stage or another, and we always found a way that to make you do a mission, and as you say, I was sort of tagging along with the higher level guys, but it meant the higher level enemies would appear, but it also meant I was able to pick up a
You
lot
were
of
shooting
loot
up the ranks.
on the way. I was getting
Yeah.
pretty quickly through the ranks on it then. But yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to mirror everything. The game is absolutely fantastic. It still holds up to this day. And I think there's a reason it's still more popular than the Division 2, to be quite honest. So it's on my hard drive. It's still plugged into the PlayStation 5. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I will probably dip into it and see what is still going. There's not as much love given to it from Ubisoft, but the game has enough in it at the minute to tide everyone over, I think. But forget about what our thoughts about
Forget
what
about
this
that.
game is. We need to forget about all that. We need to talk about the scores here now. So, the way we're working it is we're going to get a point each for every area cleared. So as we completed the incursion, we get three. We're bagging 3 points each. So
Guess
well
in.
done, everybody. This is where we start to get a little bit tricky then. So round one, no deaths, no downs, so no problems there. In round two, me and you, Cardinal, are getting an extra point because we didn't die.
We didn't die.
However, in round 3, me and you did die, and Luvva had to come to our rescue, and you
We
had to
did
come to
die.
my rescue. So Luvva's getting an extra point there. But that's not where it ends. You get a bonus point for reviving the most people throughout the entire incursion. So it is ending with Cardinal Smith. You're walking away with 5 points today.
Oh, I love a
And
bonus point.
myself and Mr. Lava Lava are walking away with 4 points apiece. So what does this mean for the league table? Not much. I'm not going to lie. But it's starting to, a little bit, the gap is starting to show again. So in third place is staying Mr. Lava Lava on 24 points.
Keep him there.
I am maintaining my 1 point gap at 25 points. I'm staying in second place. Cardinal Smith, you are, with that bonus point, puts you at a 3 point gap between me and you are sitting first on 28 points. So, not much has changed. 4 points between first and third, and we have 5 more gaming challenges to go.
Only 5 left. Is that right? 5 left.
Only 5 left. This would be episode 7 of season 4. Yes, we are.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
goodness.
the season's flying through. We were saying about this last week. It seems like no time at all doing the prep for this, and now here we are. We're over halfway through now.
I feel good that I've got a 3-point lead. I also know some of the games that are coming up. I remember a couple, and I know for a fact they are not my games.
They're not Cardinal Smith games. Yeah, I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly. There's a few games in my wheelhouse that there's a few games that I'm going. They're in my wheelhouse, and there are a couple of games
Yeah.
in there that I'm going to struggle with this one. But you talk about the next game. I'm going to tell you what the next game is.
What's that?
It is a little PlayStation 2 classic. We are picking up one of I say the lesser known titles. This is actually like a massive, massive title in the PlayStation 2 era. We are playing Time Splitters 2 next week. So do keep an eye out for that episode. I am not going to tell you what the challenge is. You'll just have to find out next Monday. And just
Awesome.
before we wrap up, we are going to do just our little social wrap up as per normal then. So again, if you have enjoyed what you have listened to today, make sure that you give us a like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to, be Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, the works. If you also are thinking that 1 hour, 1 hour 10 is not enough for high scores, high stakes content in your life, you can find us everywhere on the internet, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. We have our Discord server. We're playing Phasmophobia in our community game. The links for that will be down below. If you want a handy place, you can find all the links for those things. Go to highscoreshighstakes.com. Now, Cardinal Smith, before we call it today, have I missed anything? Do you think, is there anything else we need to tell our beloved viewers at home?
It's just that you love them and that you hope they have a great week.
Yes, absolutely. This has been Monday. You have kicked off your week perfectly with high scores, high stakes, and enjoyed the rest of your week. So, all that is left for us to say is this has been High Scores, High Stakes. I have been Tomahawk. Take care. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.